What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. Today, of course, we're in the living room, so we're gonna have a little heart-to-heart. That's what we do in the living room. You see the title, and it's something that I thought about fairly recently. I've talked to a couple other YouTubers about, and that is that I'm very fortunate, extremely fortunate, not only to be where I'm at right now in general in life, but there was a frame of time back from 2012 to about 2015, 16, 17, 2017, right around that time frame, right? So you got about 5 years that were just off the fucking chain awesome. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit because some people don't even know where this channel originated from. Of course, it's been around since 2011, right? So we're 9 years now. I started making videos in 2010. So about 10 years we've been out. So we don't even really know where the point was from where it started to how it got here, but everything that happened in between. So this is actually gonna be real cool story time. So without further ado, you guys love the story times. Here's story times. I'm so fortunate. So again, 2010, I started the YouTube channel. I started producing videos that were they were shit videos. I didn't know what I was doing. We had a shitty camera. Nothing was anything anybody really want to watch. But at the time, there wasn't YouTube Fitness. Back then, there were people that were kind of logging their results, like Matt August was logging his results. He was eating Chipotle every day, stuff like that. There wasn't a whole lot going on in 2010, right around there. Right around 2012 was when we saw Legends of Aesthetics, Physiques of Greatness. I think Lowbliner was out back then. Nick Wright was out. Jason Genova, which, of course, all part of this. It wasn't the fitness YouTube industry yet, right? It wasn't in the fitness YouTubers yet. YouTube Fitness, whatever they started calling it. It's been called multiple names, but it wasn't that yet. And I was making these videos. I'd go to like the Arnold and I'd get all the free supplements, and I'd come home and I'd make videos reviewing the supplements. Nobody gave a shit. I made these couple little documentary things called The Gym Life, which are still up now. Nobody paid attention. And then one day, of course, it was on Facebook. And a friend of mine, Dave Pulcinella, who has won the North Americans twice, a lot of people know him from Raising the Bar, those documentaries. And I've known him for years. I respect the guy. He's a good guy. He's a friend of mine. I watched a video of him on Facebook sitting down with an individual named Ian McCarthy. Now, I was fucking appalled. I was like, who the fuck does this kid think he is? Like smug, fucking cocky. I'm like, what the fuck? I was so enraged by Ian McCarthy that I was like, where does he live? Like, I want to go punch this kid in the fucking face. Like, literally, that's what I was. I mean, back then, I didn't realize the internet is not real, right? I just thought this kid, he needs a fucking beating, and, I'll do it if nobody else will do it. That's really what ran through my fucking head. And I remember my girlfriend told me at the time, she's like, why don't you just turn your camera on, vent to the camera? And I was like, actually not a bad idea. So I turned the camera on, and I just fucking went off on this kid. Now, I had no idea who he was. I had no idea who Physiques of Greatness was, Legend of Aesthetics. I knew none of these guys. I wasn't watching anybody yet. Like, if I wanted to use YouTube for something, I'd go to the search bar on YouTube, type in what I wanted, and go look at it. I wasn't following anybody at this point, really. And didn't even know about any of this fitness YouTube thing because it really wasn't happening yet. So I put that first video up, and it fucking blew up overnight, right? And I was like, wow, well, that's shocking. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, who is this kid? Like, I didn't realize nobody liked him. Everybody was pissed at him. So I made a part 2 to that video. Well, that fucking got more views too. And then what happened was I wound up seeing in the comment section, TMW, Twin Muscle Workout Army accounted for, right? TNW, or whatever it was, TMW. Then I saw POG Army in full force. Then I saw LOA. Like, I was seeing all these abbreviations, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it was all in the comment section. It just lit up with these things. What I didn't realize was the video had been seen by somebody and shared. And once it got shared, and I think it might have just been the title that it popped up in the suggested box when people were watching these other channels, when they watched it, they didn't like Ian. So they were fucking looking for anybody that's going to tear up Ian. So they started watching these couple videos that I put up, and they all subscribed. My subscribers went fucking like skyrocketed overnight. And I was like, what the fuck? So I had to Google TMW Army. It was like Twin Muscle Workout Army. What's the twins? Hodge twins. So I go over and click on these Hodge twins, and I see them. I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? And I watch a couple of their videos. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. So I follow them, right? And then I go POG. I Google POG Army, Physiques of Greatness. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I'm like Googling these things, and eventually LOA popped up in the suggested box, and I'm clicking on them. So now I'm following August. I'm following fucking Yucky Lovato. I'm following, Physiques of Greatness, Chris Jones and Vince. And so I'm starting to follow all these guys now at this point, right? And what I didn't realize was because I made that video about Ian, that video had kind of put me on the spotlight as far as these other individuals like Physiques of Greatness and Entrepreneurs. They didn't like him either for the shit that he was saying and how smug he was. So basically, they had seen the video from me, who was a nobody, and went, this guy's pretty fucking funny, right? All my other videos that were up kind of sucked, but those were the two that people were like, interesting. They were interested more to hear my opinion on what was going on rather than me talk about supplements. So that's what I started doing. I started really just talking about, there was a trainer in our area who fucked people up. So I talked about that flat out in the open. I talked about these scam fucking supplement companies, which are these multi-level marketing things that have been sued multiple times that are fucking bullshit. I talked about those. I started exposing things here. And then I started talking about steroids, which I had no fucking qualms about it. Like, I wasn't taking them at the time. So why the fuck do I need to, not fucking, I'm not going to hide the fact that I took them, right? So everything kind of really just came full circle to the point where by the time I went to, and I started going to these big expos. I started going to the Arnold. I started going to, in 2010, I started going to the Arnold. 2013, I started going to the Olympia and stuff like that. At the Arnold, I just wound up meeting these different people. And one of them was Jerry Beck from Iron Asylum. And I don't even remember how Jerry Beck and I don't even remember how we get introduced. To be totally honest with you, we just started talking some, I don't know what the fuck it was. But I'd go to these events to see him and see the few people that I knew. And I only knew the pro bodybuilders. I didn't know any of these YouTubers or anything yet because it wasn't really a big thing yet. So I'm like walking around the expo and I'm seeing these pros and I'm talking to Jerry and stuff. And then I believe it was the Arnold or it was the Olympia. I see Big J from Big J Extreme Fitness. And I wait in line. He's a few people that's talking to him. I walk up to him. I said, hey, Big J. I said, I'm Jerry. He goes, yeah, BioS3, right? I'm like, yeah, I didn't know fucking Big J watching. He knew who I was. I'm like, holy shit. I shook his hand, took pictures, talked with him a little bit. And now at this point, I'm starting to get stopped walking around the expos. People are stopping me to take pictures. Holy, the BioS guy, the BioS. They call me everything but Jerry, right? And I walk up to Mark Lobliner at the Isatori booth. And as soon as I walk up, he's like, hey, BioS3. Like, that's what he said. Nobody pronounced this shit right? So we kind of hit it off. He introduced me to Stephen Adelaide, who was the owner, CEO, and I believe president, everything. Isatori was his company. And through that friendship, I was offered to come work at Isatori's booth. Now, not really work, to appear at Isatori's booth. I paid my own way. I paid for my own food, my hotel. They didn't pay me anything. I didn't get free supplements. I basically was just there at the booth. And when I got to the booth, what was really awesome was Nick Wright was there. So that's where I met Nick and Ari. We became close friends. It got to the point where we'd go to the Olympia, working with Isatori, and Nick and Ari and I would stay a day after. Everybody would fly out Sunday in Vegas. We would stay till Monday, so we had Sunday to fuck around. We would literally go to Vegas and fucking shop. I remember this one time we went out to Louis Vuitton, and I bought the Louis Vuitton phone case, and I think Nick bought those shoes, the loafers. And already there was a purse there that was like fucking $25,000 or some shit, right? It's like this limited edition. Like the guy had gloves on when he showed it to her and stuff. She's like, wow. And Nick's like, dude, there's no way. Like a $25,000 purse? What the fuck? And she's like, yeah, I don't know. And I was like kind of standing by the side. I'm like, yeah. I said, but hey, that's like money in the bank. Like if you get that now, you can wear it and use it and stuff as long as you take care of it, right? You could sell it probably for 25 grand, maybe even more later on. It's like money in the bank. And she was like, yeah, that makes sense. And Nick's like, fucking no. This guy's egging her on. Like, that's just a relationship we had. We all hung out. We had a great time, right? But as I'm meeting, these guys at the Isatori booth, I meet Chris Jones and Vince. And they had known who I was, which was actually really cool. Now, what was awesome was while I was standing in the Isatori booth, you'd like walk into it, and Vince and Chris were over here. I was standing over here, and Nick Wright was standing next to me. When the fans going up to see Chris and Vince would see me, they go, oh, that's the guy that fucking screams. Oh, that's the BioS3 guy. So they'd leave him and come over to me and then talk to Nick, and we were all benefiting from each other's followings and stuff. And I started to grow just because of the Physiques of Greatness, people that were coming in Isatori, and now I had a place for my people to come see me. And it was like, this is fucking awesome. Now what ensued after that, right, is from 2013 to 2017 of a fucking whirlwind ride that I feel so fortunate to have been part of. And it sucks that it had to end, but all good things come to an end. I've learned that throughout my life. Like no matter how awesome something is, how bad it is, it comes to an end, right? And I just remember thinking, what's so cool is I'm at the LA Fit Expo. I'm at the Isatori booth, right? I did some work with the New Age Bite thing. I did some work with them. And then 5% Nutrition came calling. 5%. And they said, we'd like you to be part of our team. I was one of the first people that they hired, and I definitely was one of the first ones that they were actually paying a paycheck to. I was getting clothes, supplements, and a paycheck every month. And as my subscribers grew, my fee grew, like my salary grew with that every month. And so I signed with them, got to become part of that team, met Rich, met all those guys, Big Boy, and all these guys, and Viking, and all the guys and girls that came along with 5%. So now I'm going to these expos, and I'm with half the time with Isatori, then the other half of the day I'm with 5%. Like both, Isatori I wasn't really signed to, but 5% I was. But because, they were cool, they were like, no, go fulfill your obligations over there. That's cool. And then come over here when you're done. Like, it was cool. Like, we split it, right? And one thing after another. It was expo after expo, and I'm traveling with the 5% team, and I'm traveling with the Isatori team. I'm now meeting people like Mike Rashid, and I'm meeting people like CT Fletcher, and now Rich is one of my friends, and I'm sitting there going, like, what the hell? Now we have this YouTube fitness thing. Now YouTube fitness is a fucking big thing, and everybody and their brother's trying to have a fucking channel because they want the same thing that they're seeing us do. They want to travel, they want to get paid, they want to have fun. I mean, it was the most amount of fun you could ever have working in your entire life. Like, I would sleep like 2 or 3 hours and literally like get up in the morning, brush my teeth, grab something to eat, get to the expo, stay at the expo all fucking day till like 6 o'clock, leave there, go to another event that they'd have us booked for, and sometimes another event after that, and then sometimes wind up going to dinner and stuff till like 9, 10 o'clock after that. I mean, it was just this nonstop, but it didn't matter because it was so much fun. It was so awesome. It was so great to be around all these people and travel and see new places. And like, I got to go to Australia, right? I flew out to Australia. The first person that meets me out there is Casey Mitchell, my good friend from, 5% originally, but Primeval. Like, after 5%, I signed with Primeval, and they built an entire company around me, my image. They built the company. They sent me to Dubai. They sent me to Australia. I mean, I went to all these different countries and doing all this shit. And it was like, I went to all these different expos and all these different appearances. We did Real Weights for Real Heroes, which was, to help veterans, raise money for veterans. Like, I was doing all these things. And I'm like, this is fucking amazing. And I'm hanging out with CT Fletcher, Rich Piana, Nick Wright, Big J, Mark Lobliner, Chris Jones. Vince took a hike somewhere. The Hodge twins, I hung out with plenty of them. I mean, it was like, all of us, no matter what was going on, none of us were really at each other because we were all doing our own thing, and people responded. Like, they would watch my channel and all the other guys too because we were all so different. We weren't overlapping each other and trying to steal each other's fans or anything like that. So as this goes on, it feels like this is never going to stop. This is fucking awesome, right? And all of a sudden now the expos revolve around the YouTubers. They don't really revolve around the pro bodybuilders anymore. So now we were like fucking royalties things. We walk in, people are jumping at us right away. Casey and I went to Australia. We walk in the door. We didn't get 2 feet in the door. People boom, 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 like stopping us before we even get to the booth, trying to take pictures and talk to us. In Australia, that's all the way on the other side of the world, right? But what was really awesome and what really made me realize what a special thing that we had was actually that trip to Australia. Because when I walked in there, I saw Rich, I saw CT, so a few of the other people that I know from the YouTuber thing that we've been traveling together for years on these circuits. And I was like, here I am all the way across the world, on the other side of the world. I said, there's my friends. And we're all getting paid. And we're all having a good fucking time. And we're all experiencing new cultures. Like, what the fuck? Like, you can't get any more badass than this. This is it. Like, this is fucking what I always wanted to do. Who the fuck wouldn't want to do this? And it was a quick pace too. It was a very hard pace because I still kept, of course, my online training business, my in-person training business. I had a clothing line, had the YouTube channel to make content for. I mean, I had irons in the fire all over the place. And it was like, it didn't fucking matter. The more shit that came to me, the more exciting it was because it just kept paying off. And it was just becoming this dream reality of life that all of us got to do. And we got to do it together. Like, we're legitimately all friends. Like, there is no fucking arguments. There is no animosity. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had our differences, but it's like a family. Like, we argue like families and then we make up. It's like having a bunch of brothers and sisters out there, right? And I was like, this is just the most fucking amazing thing ever, right? And then little by little, things started to change after Rich's passing. After Rich passed away, it really did put a damper on these expos. Like, we noticed that attendance was down big time overall. And we saw way less of the Love It, Kill It shirts and the 5% stuff, which means those 5% were really filling up those expos. 5%ers were really filling up those expos a lot more than I think a lot of people thought. And you could feel the winds of change coming in right around when Rich passed away. People started, the booths themselves stopped giving away samples and stuff, which didn't really draw people in. They stopped giving away t-shirts, which stopped drawing people in. They realized that they were not really making the return on investment that we were doing as YouTubers, right? They'd go there and spend $100,000 in a booth, walk away with $25,000 worth of profit for the weekend. Everything else is a loss. Whereas us YouTubers, we would go out there and have a booth that we paid for like one table, right? And just take some of our shirts and put them out. And we were actually making money doing it. And we had the big lines and we had the influence and we had everything going on. And you could see that start to change. And these expos started charging more and more and more because now people were coming through the doors in droves. It wasn't just people that liked pro bodybuilding. It wasn't people that just like working out. It was people that were really into the YouTube fitness scene. They liked us. They liked to hang around with us. They wanted to see what we were doing, what we were like. They wanted to interact with us. So as these things started to cost more money to get to, some of the companies started pulling out. And eventually it got to the point where it is now, where the Olympia has actually been sold. Last year at the Olympia, 2019, was the worst year for an expo. People that went, when my wife and I didn't go because our dog Brady was sick, we canceled last minute. Like we literally decided the night before we catch our flight not to go. And they're like, dude, you didn't miss anything. Like I know social media wasn't, it wasn't flooded with pictures from the Olympia. It wasn't people saying I have a great time. It was people just kind of disappointed in general about what was going on. And that's when I really realized last year that it's over. Like that's over. It's done. Now don't get me wrong, we're still doing our own things, right? You still go to the expo, you'll still see Lobliner, and you'll still see Mike Rashid, and you'll still see CT, and you'll still see Jay Cutler, and Jay Cutler is a YouTuber now, so, and you'll still see the guys here and there, but a lot of the straight up just YouTubers that were traveling together and stuff, excuse me, like you don't see Nick Wright there anymore, Big J, and a host of other people that have kind of, and we don't even see Bradley Martin at many of these things. Like there was no Bradley Martin when I started. Like he started after I did. Like we don't see him at the expos as much anymore, right? Like we don't see the same type of expo energy, I guess, going on. Like the excitement, the people pushing it like 2 months ahead of time, so that people that want to go can get like babysitters for the kids, get the day off from work or whatever the case may be, or the day off from school, whatever, so they can go see us at these expos. The hype is just not there anymore because honestly, the expos have charged too much money and kind of made it hard for people to go in there and see their favorite people when their favorite people, like, I'm not going to go spend 10 grand for a weekend when I'm going to lose $5,000 on it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I'll just go to a gym. Like, I won't go to the expo. I'll go out and fly out to, Vegas, and I'll go to a gym and say, hey, I'm going to have a meet and greet. Christian Guzman's a perfect example. He'll just go do a meet and greet now and stay away from the expos. And the meet and greet will get 20,000 people at it or whatever. It'll draw people into the gym. Right? And sometimes these YouTubers can even go to a gym and say, hey, I want to hold an event here. It's probably going to bring about maybe, 800 people into your gym within the day. Can we work something out? And sometimes the gyms are like, hey, we'll provide food. We'll provide some free t-shirts from the gym. Let's do it here. Sometimes the gyms even pay some of the YouTubers to go there, right? So it's like the expos have kind of lost the kind of pizzazz, I guess, the pull, the draw they once had for the YouTubers to get there because of financial situations. Like they're trying to basically soak all of the people going to the expos for all the money. Like they're trying to make it so that people can't make money. When you go like Primeval, we go to the Olympia and we have a booth. We have a nice big ass booth with Primeval. Primeval was all about spending money to fucking get what you need done. It was all about growing the business. And we had that backdrop at the Olympia. And it was nice. I said, fuck, that's nice. And the owner was like, yeah, it was like fucking $3,000. Or it was either $3,000 or $7,000. I'm thinking it might have been $7,000, right? And I was like, holy fuck. I'm like, well, it's expensive, but it's really nice. And now we can leave here and take it to the Arnold. He goes, no. The Olympia owns that. They take it back with them. I was like, oh, do they store it till next year? He's like, no, they destroy it. Because we would buy a new one next year. And I'm like, what the fuck? And like we calculated, the owner and I used to fly in early. And we'd walk around the expo and look at everybody's booths. And we would try to figure out what people are spending on booths. We were like, that motherfucker's probably spending 110 grand for the weekend. How the fuck are you making that money back? Plus they're giving away like Bang Energy. Fuck, their booths, ridiculous amounts of money. And then they give away a shit ton of fucking product. So it was like their whole thing was a giant fucking loss, but they would try to make it up in sales on the, the retail market, right? That's what their goal was. Now, last expo I was at, there was no fucking Bang. I'm like, Bang, who are the biggest booths, they're not fucking there? Like, what the fuck? Like, when they're starting to pull back, that's telling you something. Primeval doesn't do the expos much anymore. Isatori doesn't do them much anymore. Bang pulled out in the last couple that I was at. And I'm like, fuck. So as the companies pull out, there's really no draw to get the YouTubers there. right? Or the pro bodybuilders there, or fucking, you know, whatever celebrities there. I mean, they tried to bring like Mario Lopez to the Olympia, or whatever, and nobody gave a fuck. Mark Wahlberg, nobody gave a fuck. Like, you bring these movie stars, nobody gives a fuck. They want to see their favorite pro bodybuilder, their favorite YouTuber, their favorite fitness personality off Instagram. And it's gotten to the point where they were just charging too much money, taking advantage of it. And instead of everybody having a good time and keeping the good thing going, it destroyed it. And as a result, we all still do our own things, right? We're all still in here doing, you know, what we do. And I just honestly, like, I let go of it last year when I realized it's very similar to when I was younger, and I used to go to this place called the Sound Factory. Now, the Sound Factory is in New York, and I remember Greg Valentino used to go there, King Kamal used to go there, Victor Martinez used to go there. The Sound Factory was a place that was so special. It was a one-of-a-kind place. And it had, to me, the best DJ in the world, Jonathan Peters, the best house music DJ in the world, Jonathan Peters there as a resident. And we'd drive from Rhode Island for 4 hours to get there. We'd be there from 3 in the morning to 11 in the morning, fucking partying our faces off, taking fucking drugs. It was the best place ever. And those times were some of the most carefree, happy times in my entire life. I was a young adult. I didn't have to worry about money. I was doing well. I was into these party drugs that were making you feel good. All my friends were into them. So we'd take fucking rent a was it a Durango? I think it was rented a Durango or a 4Runner and drive that down to New York and hang out. It was like the best time. And then as the Sound Factory closed up and things moved on, we'd go to see Jonathan at another club. And some of my other friends, we went to another, I think it was Space or Pacha. I don't remember which one we went to see him there. And it was like we were 5 years older and it was a different crowd. We didn't take the drugs anymore. It was like, we can't relive that. Like, we can't get that back. We cannot, it's done. It was a point in time where it's done. And there are times where, like, I talk to my friends about, like, shit that we did out there and the times that we had. And both of us are just like daydreaming. We're like, wow, yeah, I remember, man. You know, there are times where I had such strong feelings, like, of just, I guess you could say ecstasy. I was taking ecstasy, so I guess you could say ecstasy. But strong feelings of just being happy and content and not worrying about what's outside those doors of the club that really gave you a sense of well-being. Like, you just weren't scared of anything, right? And I realized even if I went to a club now and I took the same drugs, it's not the same. It doesn't work. Like, that time, what it was has passed, and it's in the past. And I'll always remember it, and I always look fondly of it, and I always love that time, right? And I always sometimes get a lump in my throat and tears in my eyes when I talk about it, because it was just a really good point of time in my life. And the expos and the touring and stuff that we did is the same fucking thing. It was an amazing part of my life. I'm so happy that I did it. I'm so stoked that I got to go through it. I have only fond memories of this stuff. I really don't have any bad memories whatsoever of the expos and the traveling and all the shit that went on. It was just, I am so fortunate to have been part of something that became so big and so awesome worldwide. And I started really when it was in the beginning where not many people were doing it yet. And as a result of that, I get to travel the world and see things. I get to make new friends that I learn a lot from all the fucking time, right? Like, I look at CT Fletcher, there's a lesson in him. There's a lesson that you don't have to be your old self. CT is a new version of himself. He has a new heart after a heart transplant. He's out there doing new things, right? So he's evolved from the old CT into the new CT, right? We have Mike Rashid, who evolved from, he was just into like the bodybuilding stuff for a while. He's evolved back into boxing again. You know, then he became vegan. Now he's doing like an intermittent fasting thing where it's like one meal a day. Like, you're watching everybody evolve and become new versions of themselves. You know, Mark Lobliner, you've seen him go from what he was doing before with MTS Way. He's created this whole line of products. And at the same time, his content in general on the websites and stuff, that's grown. Everything has grown. People are just growing in general. And yes, we're all growing apart in different directions, but we'll always be bound by that time frame from 2013 to 2017, that even go 2018, because it was 2019 I really looked at the Olympia and said, shit's going south. And we were all part of that. You know what I mean? We're all part of creating that. We were all part of keeping it going. We were all part of something very, very special that, let's be fucking real, you're never going to see it again. That's it. You know, it's like fucking Mike Tyson. You're never going to see another Mike Tyson. I mean, they're good boxers. You're never going to see another Mayweather. What that was, the YouTube fitness, we'll never see it again. I remember Van Bra. You know what I mean? I remember so many cool things that we used to do. And the people that have come and gone and moved on with their lives and created new businesses. And, you know, Stephen Adelaide from Isotorius created a whole new business that has nothing to do with the fitness industry. He's successful at that now. You know, so I just sit back and I go, yeah, man, I absolutely fucking miss it. It absolutely makes me sad that it's not happening anymore. But I'm so happy and fortunate and glad that I was able to be a part of it that I have no complaints. Like, I have no arguments. Like, do I wish it could go on forever? Sure. Do I think that pace that we were on could go on forever? Probably not. But you never want those awesome things to come to an end. And all of those people that I just spoke about, that I've traveled the world with, and I've had breakfast with, and I've had dinner with, and some of you have been to their houses and stuff, thank you. Thank you for including me in part of it. Thank you for letting me be part of what we built together, right? It was awesome to be treated like an equal by all these guys just because I was being myself. Every single one of the people that I spoke about today was just being themselves. They had their own thing that they were doing, and that's what draw people to them. And by doing my own thing, I was accepted into that group of people and became a peer by just being myself. What's more powerful than that? I mean, it's not even about the fitness take home. The take home is you can be yourself with your friends that are being themselves and create something so powerful that people around the world will pay attention to it because you're just being yourself. It's not a scam. It's not bullshit. It's not preempted. It's not scripted. It's just you, right? How fucking amazing is that? We got to do what we did and continue to do what we're doing because we're just us. It just doesn't get better than that, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this story time. I enjoyed telling it and going down memory lane, where it started, where we are now, and everything that happened in between. It was just an awesome time. And I'm looking forward to the future because, honestly, let's be 100% real. I talked about that Sound Factory thing. That was a huge point in my life, right? Well, I don't know if you consider the fitness thing, the YouTuber thing, the traveling stuff, better than that, going to the club and stuff, but it is at least just as good. So now I can say, well, there was this point in my life here, and then my point in life here, and then my point in life when I was a wrestler would be just as good as those. Like, there are these blocks of life that are just as good as other points in your life, but it's different circumstances in different parts of your life. So I'm like, well, shit, if all that shit's already happened now, you know what I mean? Like playing my first gig when I was 13 years old in a band, right? Recording in a recording studio at 14 years old. Like, there was a block of my life there that was just fucking unbelievable. I was on stage in front of a bunch of people at 13 years old playing in a band. Like, all these cool fucking blocks of time that have happened. 44. There's a bunch of blocks left. What's going to happen? What's next? What is coming up in the future? Like, is it going to be the next block that's just as awesome as that shit? And when it's all said and done, I'll be like, dude, this was fucking awesome too. That's what I suspect. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Thank you guys for the support over the years. When I put that video up recently that was about, you know, my channel changing and stuff like that, there was a lot of you actually that were still here from before. And I thank you. Thank you guys for hanging out there with me. Thank you guys for sticking it out for the last 10 years. And people that are halfway through, you know, like, you've been 5 years, you've been paying attention, thank you. New viewers, welcome. You know, we're about to do as much cool shit as we possibly can. We don't know what the future holds, but the next thing is on its way. When one thing ends, something else begins. It's how it works, right? One chapter is over, the next chapter starts. So the chapter is starting now. What it's going to be, I don't fucking know. But when it's happening, it's going to be fucking awesome. I'll share it with you guys every step of the way so you guys can be part of it. And hopefully it inspires and motivates you to do something in your journey that will make you take a chance, right? Like, sign with that company, you know, get that job you want, go after it. You know what I mean? Ask that girl out that you're fucking scared to ask out. Why are you scared to ask her? That could be the block in your life, which could last the rest of your fucking life if it becomes your wife. I mean, anything, that job that you're scared to fucking apply for because you might not get it, right? Apply for that fucking job. That could be the next block of your life that's just fucking next level awesome and setting you up for the next chapter. That's how it works. Every piece sets you up for the next piece. It doesn't end until you're dead. So experiment a little bit with what you guys are doing and don't take anything for granted day to day, and absolutely live every day like it's an individual day. Like, there is no tomorrow. Like, today is your life, right? Tomorrow is your next life. The next life, every day changes into another life to where you can do whatever the fuck you want, make whatever decisions you want to go in the next block or chapter that you want. But just be true to yourself and be honest with yourself. And just don't look to what other people are doing and try to mimic them, because that's the fastest way to fail. You want to succeed? Be yourself. BobStreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BobStreet.com is a blog, so just be yourself, bicep, because it's the best way, and we are out.